Hello, everybody, and welcome back to On Ice, the show about the show 20 years later. Today, we're talking about Lost, Season 4, Episodes 11 and 12. I'm Will, also here is Ben, and you can watch full video episodes of the podcast on YouTube. Ben and I also release a bonus hangout show every week that can be found at patreon.com/drskeleton. Listen, we've got a textbook Lost season finale setup to get into today, and get into it we will. But I have to set up my own potential finale first. Ben, Lost has infected my brain to a worrying degree. That's right, it's time for you. Time for you to hear about my dreams. I've been having unusually vivid, weird dreams in the last few months. This is new for me because I don't generally remember my dreams.
Yeah, same here. I
Yeah.
think I've shared before, I have abstract dreams, though, when I do dream about stuff. Just shapes rotating in my
Yeah.
mind. Screensaver style.
Completely impossible to relate to. That's so crazy.
Are yours
hear about.
Are yours like about Lost?
Well, this one definitely had Lost characters in it. After watching episode 11 the other night, I had one heck of a dream. I was on the top floor of an apartment building with Jin and my best friend from high school, Ted. Jin was pregnant and was going into labor. Ted and I were trying to get him to the hospital, but Kimi and his goons were chasing us. I got Jin into the elevator, and Ted bought us time to get the door closed by firing a pistol into the floor, not at them.
Jin was pregnant.
Jin was pregnant, yes.
But it's not Daniel Day Kim. You didn't have a dream about Daniel Day Kim. You had a dream about the character Jin from Lost.
It was Jin. It was Jin. Yeah. Okay. I think I was like, it's gonna be all right, Jin. Yeah, or whatever. Yeah. So Ted had a gun. He didn't fire at them, but he fired like at the floor, like you you would fire like at a cowboy thing, like dance for me kind of thing. But Ted bought us a little time with that. And we got him in the elevator. We got him into a car and drove him to the hospital, but it was more like an airport with a bunch of like complicated signs to follow, and none of the signs applied to our situation. We were looking for like Jin is pregnant, follow, go to the right or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Eventually
we got him to the hospital, and the rest of the Lost crew was there. So that's why I knew it wasn't just Daniel Day Kim. It was also the rest of the Lost crew. And Sun was there. I was relieved to let Sun take over. But she was really dismissive of Jin's condition, and everyone was mad at me and Ted for bringing him to the hospital. So anyway, what's going on with you, Ben? Are you also losing your mind?
No, not at all. You're like living in your own little alternate reality game over there, I guess. I wish I could tell you that was like expected. And everyone has that dream after they
searching on Reddit is like, what does it mean when Jin's pregnant in your dreams? Like, is that like a clue that Damon Lindelof put into the show?
Yeah, strange. No, don't know anything about that. I've not been doing anything as per usual. I just watched the episodes today, like a couple hours ago. So, save it till the last minute.
Well, the dreams will be coming tonight then. Okay, I gotcha.
Yeah, for me. Yeah. I guess we'll see how that goes. Yeah.
And I thought about texting you this, but I thought it should be better shared on the show. I had a really unfortunate Lost-related realization this week as well. Michael Emerson, we love him. I love him. I think he's great on the show. It hit me though this week that he's very Kevin Spacey coded, or like his performance is very like Kaiser Soche, or it's actually him more like Kevin Spacey in Seven, really. But like he has like very still upper half of his face, with like almost like monotone delivery, and like his face or his like his mouth kind of looks like it, and it hit me when I saw Spacey's latest victim taunting video this week.
Yeah, I actually.
Oh shit, he's being Ben from Lost right now.
I think that Michael Emerson in Lost has been. It did strike me this week for the first time, or maybe not the first time, but like it really caught my attention what he's doing with the upper half of his face as well. Like I specifically found myself thinking, what other characters don't blink? And then I realized like, yeah, Locke doesn't blink that much either. There were a couple like contentious discussions between the two characters. Locke doesn't do a lot of blinking. There are a lot of characters who don't do a lot of blinking. Maybe that's just an acting thing. If
It
you're
is
gonna
an
be on
acting
screen,
thing.
don't blink.
I think it's like mostly a rule that you try not to blink. We do it. It's so interesting you bring up blinking though this week because we have like a very specific like story blink this week.
Sure.
Saeed blinks to
Yes.
like prove he's not dreaming.
But I realized actually no, the thing that Michael Emerson does as Ben, I didn't really think to or bother to watch some clips to remind myself of him in other movies or whatever. But the thing that he does is he's very wide-eyed in a way that is difficult to believe is a natural thing. Yeah, he's
Yes.
doing exactly what you're doing
Well,
right now.
several characters
You
do
gotta
point out
try.
they call him like bug-eyed. They call him like a couple times like you
Yeah.
bug-eyed freak or whatever. Um, he's got piercing blue eyes. He's got like an intense stare. It's an effective choice that he makes for the
It's
character.
like
It's really
yeah,
good.
bug-eyed is a good word, and I realize yes, people have acknowledged it in the show and whatever, but it just never really struck me until now. Like, oh damn, that's weird. You got to
Yeah, I
be
mean it.
trying. It's like a child. If you told a child to stare at someone,
Yeah,
that's how
yeah. If you
they
just
would
like keep your
stare.
eyes open like a little bit too wide for like a long time, it's like pretty disconcerting. It's like intense, and you're like, all right. But do the I don't know
Just
how he
try to
doesn't
do
blink.
it
That's like
the
really drawing at my eyeballs right now.
it's really trying. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm gonna be very conscious of how open my eyes are for the rest of the episode. Um, these were a couple of good episodes. I thought. I mean, it's like a lot of setup, not a ton of payoff yet, as is the way with these last couple episodes of a season. I did have to ask you to make a call about what to do this week because it's the first 3-part finale, I think,
Mhm.
or I'm not sure. This is the first time I'm watching a season on Netflix, and for some reason that threw me off, and I didn't want to like look up anything about the episodes before I watched them, so I asked you where to draw the line, and like yeah, we'll just do two episodes like we usually do. So next week we're gonna talk about parts 2 and 3 of the season 4 finale. This week it's Cabin Fever and There's No Place Like Home part 1.
Yep. I
Speaking
was
of which,
I was very thrown off by you asking me that though, because then I got worried that I had, I don't know, done something wrong, or like, were we watching the rest of the entire rest of the show for this this week or
why
something?
would that be the case?
I don't know why it would be the case, but you seem very concerned. You never messaged me about messaged me about
I don't
the
usually
episodes
trust
to watch
anyone
before.
else.
You don't
Yeah.
entrust me. Yeah, yeah. With this, I often listen to the previous episode or skip forward to the end of the previous episode to double check what was I supposed to watch. What was I supposed to watch this week? But you were like, "What should we do? I don't want to ruin the end of the show for me." And then I was thinking like,
The end of the season
end of
or
the
or
season. I know,
whatever.
end of the season. But then I was thinking, oh, is it like episode whatever 12, season finale part 1, the next 2 episodes answer will be dot dot dot, and then presumably the spoiler
Oh.
would be in the episode title or something. I don't know. So I was just thrown off. I just very cautiously looked it up.
Sorry for sorry for throwing you off like that. But turns out, yeah, it's just the way we always do it. Just 2 more episodes.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the first of the next 2. Season 4, episode 11, Cabin Fever, aired May 8th, 2008, directed by Paul Edwards, written by Elizabeth Sarnoff and Kyle Pennington. A bit of a straight down the middle Lost episode title. I guess you just gotta call one of these Cabin Fever. It's about a cabin.
Sure.
Sure. The episode begins with a flashback to 1956 when 16-year-old Emily Locke is preparing for a date with a man twice her age.
We don't actually know that it's 1956. I don't think, unless I missed the very first frame. It could have been we are transported into present day in the home of a rockabilly family or something like that, you know?
It's the Lost effect, because I'm not taking anything for granted, right?
Yeah.
Like when this started, I was like, this is actually the future when they wrap around to it's the style of the time to be listening to doo-wop on the radio and stuff. I don't know.
There's another others, the other others, the other others
Yeah.
camp where there's doing doo-wop stuff on the island.
Which I can see being a bit of a problem for the writers and the creators of Lost. Were like, what if you just wanted to say like something very basic, like, okay, it's 1956 in this scene, and everyone's like, hold up, probably not. Like, I bet it's not. I bet it's. I bet it's like secretly 1,000 years ago or something, and they're like, I'm just trying to tell one scene in 1956. They're like, I see what you're doing there. It's the future. So, I mean, that's what I was doing. I do that with every scene now. I was like, no, what's actually going on? But no, it does seem to be actually in the past. Emily Locke, John's mother, teenage mother, also the name of Ben's mother. So we get some John and Ben connections going on. In this
You've
episode
got
too.
two types of writers on the show. You've got the writer, it's probably a little more my style, who's like, just reuse a name. Who cares? Can't think of any more name for
This is the first reusable or
women.
first reused name. Yeah.
Well, I've complained on our show in the past.
Yeah.
I think people should reuse more names. There should be just a bunch of Johns running around. It should just be confusing for no reason. And then you've got whoever wrote Lapidus, who we got a couple Lapidus shout outs again in these episodes as well. People yelling Lapidus, where you're stoked about that name. You will come up with any crazy name and then use it as much as possible.
Yes. Well, I would perhaps suggest that it wasn't just like because they ran out of names. Like, there's a good reason that both Ben and Locke's mothers are named Emily. You kind of get the. Didn't it happen in like one of the Batman versus Superman movies where like they're fighting each other and then they're like, hey, wait a second, both our mom's names are Martha, and they've stopped fighting.
I can't say I've watched
Okay.
a single Batman versus Superman movie, so I wouldn't know, but okay.
All right, very well.
Our last names are both man.
We have more in common than we might have thought. Are you mad, Ben? Are you shouting in there? You're saying a woof?
I was trying to make a sign at my dog to stop barking.
Big thumbs down at Bong Bong. Okay, but yeah, Emily Locke preparing for a date with a man twice her age. She's like, can't wait to meet this man twice my age. It's presumably Anthony Cooper, right? Like that's the guy that we know that is Locke's dad.
Possibly.
Her mother tries to stop her from going out, but Emily leaves anyway and is struck by a car.
If that was Anthony Cooper, who's the dad, though, he's looking pretty good in 2004 for being probably should be in his 80s or something, 90s, 70s.
Well, he would have been 32 at the time if Emily Locke is 16.
Okay,
so it's viewers, take very careful note of what I'm doing with my hands here. Only a 16-year age gap. Which,
if you're listening,
eventually when you become
up, which is not what I would do.
No.
I was giving 2 thumbs up.
Now that's the guy I can get into. That's crazy. Anyway, but yeah, wow, yeah, 32-year-old hanging out with a 16-year-old. All right, Yo, chill. Yo,
Wait, so how
chill.
old would he be in 2004 then?
Oh, that's some math. But I was just gonna suggest that, like, okay, once you're kind of like into middle age, the like a 15, 16 year age difference, you're not gonna look too much different from each other. I suppose, like, if he's and you know, especially if like men age faster, look older than women do or something, right? And so like maybe because we've seen grown up Emily Locke, so maybe the fact that he and the two of them kind of look similarly aged isn't like a continuity thing, is what I'm getting at with all of this.
But I'm just saying, in an absolute sense,
In
if his
absolute sense,
dad
okay.
is like
So if
80 or
he's
90, he's looking good for how he looks in
okay, so in
2004.
1956 he is 32. 50 years later he is 82
Yes,
minus 3 or whatever.
ish.
Two,
Yeah,
80. Yeah, he should literally be 81.
should be
That,
like 80s. He's looking good for an 80-year-old. He pushed a guy out a window at 80.
yeah, that's not adding up. That's crazy.
If I were the judge, I'd be, you pushed a guy, you pushed your son out the window, but you're 80 years old. You can just not go to jail, I guess. You deserve it. You deserve
I
a
mean,
freebie.
crucially, he got away from anyway.
He got away anyway, but
Once
I'm
again,
just,
right? Yeah. Yeah.
And you got away. You're out of jail free. Sorry,
Mhm.
Locke, young
Yeah.
Locke.
So wait, what's the deal here? Is this maybe he wasn't actually twice her age in 1956? Maybe this wasn't actually in 1956.
Maybe it was a different dad.
Maybe it was a different that maybe Anthony Cooper not really his dad. Huh.
Maybe
All right.
something else entirely.
I don't know. But yeah, she is struck by a car. This trauma triggers the premature birth of John. John's life is monitored by Richard Alpert, who's there at the birth and throughout his childhood looks the same age as he does in present day, which I called it. He was ageless. His agelessness was there. You did a good job diverting me at the time.
Mhm.
And Lance Reddick shows up to influence John's life as well.
Do we have a new most famous character?
We've already
Most
seen
famous
Lance Reddick.
Oh.
He went to see Hurley.
Oh, yeah.
But yes, I do think he is the most famous guest character.
I forgot that I forgot about that. Okay.
As an actor, I guess, right? Like maybe like Cheech Marin is still like more famous, but as a comedian, right? But like as an actor, Lance Reddick's got to be number one.
Maybe.
Right? Maybe. The existence of Mytilos Bioscience is revealed when John is invited to spend the summer there as a highly gifted high school student. Okay, so we're gonna rewind a little bit to like this test that Richard Alpert comes in and gives John when he's like a little kid. He like shows up. He like John. So Emily abandons him, right? Like she is seeing him there in the incubator, and she's like, as a newborn baby, and she's like, I can't do this. She ran away. And then I want to make this connection here. Ben's mother, also named Emily, she loved him and died with him in her arms. But John's mother rejected him after he fought so hard to survive. Now the two sons find themselves in the same place, and maybe like getting the torch passed, like whether Jacob is favoring John now in the present as this is going on, but just like some interesting parallels between the two of them. As John grows up, he's a little kid. Richard Alpert comes to the house where John is living. He has been adopted. He's like a foster family here or something, and he gives him a test. He's like, or actually, before he gives him the test, he's like, "Hey, did you make those drawings?" And he's like, "Yes, I did." And looks on the wall, and there's like he drew like the smoke monster.
Yeah.
That's on the wall. He also says, "Oh, it's raining cats and dogs out there," and he's like noticeably completely dry. I thought that was interesting too. He like made a point of saying that. So I don't know. We got a dry guy.
Yeah, a dry guy. He comes in to taunt young Locke.
He does. He puts a few items out on
Are
A coffee
you
table.
are you PT?
Nice. Got him.
Mm.
I could.
They will know that
I
he's
could
the
tell
one
you're
if
an
he
older
can
brother.
you'll know that if he can wiggle his way out of this one.
Yeah. Professor X, or whatever, Professor Xavier, whatever the X-Men guy, but recruiting people to his special academy by giving him the hardest test of all. Are you PT? But he gives the test that he gives him. He lays out a series of objects. He takes out of his satchel on a coffee table, and he asks John, "Which of these items belongs to you?" And little kid John's like, "That I can just. Which of these can I take?" He's like, "No, which one already belongs to you?" And he grabs like a little vial of sand. Um, he grabs the compass, and he's about to grab the Book of Laws, which we have seen in the show already. I think that was where like Echo and Locke found like the orientation tape. It was in like the middle of the Book of Laws, and Albert's like, "Ooh, he's gonna grab the Book of Laws," but then he's like, "Nope," he grabs the knife instead. And Albert's like, "Are you sure the knife belongs to you?" He's like, "Yes," and he's like, "Wrong!" and then leaves. He storms out.
Pissed off.
Like, "Your son sucks!" Yeah. And then his mom's mad at him for his screwing up somehow. And yeah, fast forward to high school. John's a freaking nerd being stuffed into a locker. The teacher comes, lets him out, and everybody's like, he's a nerd stuffed into a locker." And the teacher tries to give him like the real talk. He's like, "All right, it's tough being a nerd ass bitch right now, but the thing is, you're really smart. You're good at science. This is
You will
good.
always be one.
You're never not going to be a nerd ass bitch. You suck. You're weak. But you'll be in a lab someday and all that." And he's like, "No, that's not me. I like to hunt. I like to fish. I like sports. I'm not a science guy." He's like, "No, you don't get it. Like, it's good to be like a science guy." And in fact, this, Middle-East Bioscience wants to give you an internship or like whatever. They probably saw you something at the science fair, and he's like, no, don't tell me what I can't be or whatever. He has that line. It's about his destiny. He hates it when people tell him what to do. That, and what was it before that we saw? Like, you're either a hunter or a farmer. Is that was that the dichotomy when he was with that, like, even forget what we call it, a society that lived in the woods or something?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Yeah, and he can't face the facts that he's a gardener, or a farmer, and he's a science guy and all this. He wants to be the strong masculine type guy. I think it's got something to do with probably the father's. He really latches onto his father when he finally appears in his life, and that's what's going on. So in the present day, though, Locke, Hurley, and Ben Linus are attempting to find the cabin inhabited by Jacob, the de facto leader of the others. The de facto leader of the others? Okay. Sure. They are initially unsuccessful, but Locke has a dream. Much like myself,
You.
perhaps.
Yes.
A man named Horace Goodspeed appears to John in his dream. He's clearing a forest. He's cutting down a tree over and over again. He's an NPC locked into this, the same 8 moves, repeating the same lines of dialogue, and tells him that he's got to come find him for more information about how to find the cabin. I meant to look this up. Isn't Horus a Egyptian god?
That's a
Horus, Egyptian
deep
god.
pull if that is the case. I would not have
Yes.
ever guessed
Horus is the sky god, the protector of pharaohs, and a symbol of justice and righteousness.
Horus is the name of an Egyptian god?
Horus. Yes. He's the son of
Okay.
Osiris and Isis.
That sounds a little more
Oh,
uh
interesting.
Egyptian god-like, I guess.
Yeah, he is locked in battle with Set, his uncle who killed Horus, his father. There's some patricide going on. I think we've seen that happen here. Ben killed his dad. Uh, yeah. All right. The Horus Goodspeed at the end of this like little dream thing going on. Horus says to Locke, "Godspeed," and then we find out later that his last name is Goodspeed. Like, I'm not really sure what to make of that, but like, okay, there's something.
Nice. It is a little James Bond-esque name.
Yeah, yeah. He assists Locke by pointing him to the initiative's mass grave. So yeah, Locke wakes up. He's like, all right, I know where we're going. I had a dream about it. And Ben knows what's going on now. He says, like, I used to have dreams.
Sure.
So they get to the mass grave. There, Locke extracts a set of blueprints from Horus's jacket and uses it to locate the cabin. But while Locke is digging through the bodies, Hurley and Ben share a moment. Hurley offers Ben half a candy bar, or half the Apollo bar. And, oh, shoot. What was the other thing that happened here? Basically, like, Hurley's like, okay, what happened to these guys? And Locke's like, oh, he happened to him. Referring to Ben, that he killed them all. All right, so let's go over to the freighter. On the freighter Kahana, mercenary Martin Keamy returns from his unsuccessful attack on the barracks, the former home of the others. Enraged that his mission was unsuccessful and several of his colleagues were killed, he accuses Galt, Captain Galt, of giving him up to Ben. But Galt tells Keamy that Michael is actually the spy.
How is that guy's name spelled? The one with
Galt?
No, the other one.
Keamy?
Yes. I'm not saying it because okay, go ahead.
Keamy.
Keamy?
Yes.
Interesting. I thought they were saying Keems. Okay, whatever. Weird name to me.
It's a bit of a weird name. Maybe his like close pals call him Keems.
My friends call me Keems.
But Keamy or Keems tries, depending on how familiar you are with him, he tries to kill Michael by shooting him. But just as in the episode Meet Kevin Johnson, when Michael tries to commit suicide, the gun jams. Galt then tells Keamy that Michael is vital to repairing the engines because he is the one that sabotaged them initially. Saeed, fearing Keamy's intentions, uses a Zodiac boat to return to the island, hoping to save as many people as possible.
I've got a question about this. Zodiac boat? Is that what you call that? Is that
seems
phrase?
I hadn't heard of that until
it threw me off. It was throwing me off. I guess I'm mishearing a lot of stuff.
Zodiac Nautique, I should say, is a French company known for their inflatable boats.
Okay.
Originating as an airship company, the boating division was split off from the aerospace-focused Zodiac Group in 2007. In France, Zodiac has become a genericized trademark for an inflatable boat.
Interesting.
So it's kind of a French thing to be calling it that.
A little French thing, yeah. Strange. So we've got some Frenchmen on our hands over there.
Suppose.
What
would you call
it? The little boat? A dinghy? Would you call it a dinghy, maybe? I wouldn't call it anything. I'd call it a little speedboat, even though that's not what it is. That's what I would call it.
Sure. I'd just be wrong about it.
I would not be calling some random ass name out of, from France.
I think dinghy's right. Pals. But can it be? I feel like dinghy's right. Yeah,
I think dinghy is right.
It's often carried or towed by a larger vessel for use as a tender.
I wouldn't call it that because it sounds silly.
Dinghy?
I would just call it something else,
I
like
can see why they call it a
little
Zodiac
boat.
because it's cooler. I'm gonna
Yeah.
get in the dinghy. No, I'm gonna get in the Zodiac. Like, all right, I'll take this guy seriously.
Are you okay? Yeah. Are you doing uh a little voice there?
Yes, doing a
A,
little bit of a
a
voice.
little. Okay, never mind. Sorry.
A
It
little Duke
sounds.
Nukem.
Oh, okay, okay. I was trying to figure out where it's coming from. Yeah. I wouldn't imagine a Duke Nukem type character to pull a French phrase though.
Well, yeah. I don't think the word Zodiac is itself French. I think that the French brand pulled Zodiac for their brand, and then that kind of became Kleenex. Like if there was like an ancient Egyptian god named Kleenex, and then, and then like the tissue
Yeah, I
company.
get it. I get it. I get it. I just, yeah, whatever. It's weird. It's weird to me.
I've come to rescue you, head chew bubble gum. I'm all out of gum. Galt then tells Kimi that Michael is vital to repairing the engines because he's the one that sabotaged them initially. There seems to be a little bit of a logical gap there, I think. That's like, he's the only one that can repair the engines because he's the one who broke them. I think that it is entirely possible to break something and not know how to fix it. In fact, I may be the foremost expert on such activities.
Yes. Also,
That's basically all I
possible to
do.
fix something without having been the person to break it, which
That's a
is
good point.
much more important in this case.
Yeah, a lot more handy. But it seems to save Michael's life, at least for a little while. So yeah, Saeed, fearing Kimi's intentions, uses the Zodiac boat to return to the island, hoping to save as many people as possible. Desmond declines to accompany him, saying that he would never return to the island after he left. Little cowardly, I gotta say.
Yeah.
I would absolutely return and save everybody. Myself, of course. But Desmond's like, now my girlfriend knows that I'm here. I'm gonna hang back.
It seems like it'd be harder, maybe not, I guess, in this case, but to find a boat than to find an island that's already been found by a boat. But obviously, like in this case, yes, it's a secret, mystical island, whatever. But whatever, seems a little lazy. I agree.
Well, they got the bearings now. I suppose
Yeah.
that they can just keep following back.
Sure.
Several hours after Saeed leaves, Kimi stages a mutiny. A soldier receives a message from the island saying that they found a body of ship Dr. Ray. But the doctor protests that it's impossible since he's alive on the boat. Kimi orders Frank Lapidus at gunpoint to prepare the freighter's helicopter. Lapidus refuses. Kimi kills the doctor and Galt in response. Galt like shows up and he's like, Martin, stop it. And then like Kimi holds out his arm and you see on his bicep he's got like something.
A black sun. another Duke Nukem style guy in the last few years revealed for having a black sun.
What's the what?
No, that's like the Nazi thing that all the guys in Ukraine have tattooed.
Yes. Oh God, yes. No, it's a device. It's apparently a modified metronome. Production notes reveal this is a modified Korg metronome that they've attached to his arm.
Was it even a metronome? It looked like a Korg tuner.
Maybe. I bet you
maybe
could
it's a combination tuner metronome.
Yeah. But that's what's going on his arm. I'm not sure. We're not super sure what it is. Maybe he's kind of like holding it up as if like but like Galt doesn't know what it is. And he's like, what is that? What hey, oi, mate. What is that? And then Kimi just blows him away.
Yeah.
And then Lapidus is like,
which is a good trick. That's a good trick. Just like You forgot about.
Oh yeah, you forgot about this.
You forgot
Huh?
about Kevin. Oi, who
Oi,
the
who's
fuck is
Kevin?
Pew!
Sorry to all Australians. I can't do your wonderful
Yes,
accent.
sorry.
Lapidus acquiesces. He's like, all right, I'll take you. He's Duke Nukem now.
We'll fly. He says, "We're flying."
We're flying now. And Kimi leaves the freighter with a group of mercenaries, intending to, quote, torch the island.
Yep.
When the helicopter passes over the survivors' beach camp, Frank drops a bag containing a satellite phone onto the beach. Or as I like to call it, a sat phone.
Sat phone.
I'm a bit of an operator. Ah, yes. A beep, beep, beep.
I feel that seems like that would be difficult to do out of the captain's seat, right? Because they've got like a door, right? The captain gets a door. Captain can't just like.
Maybe you rolled the window down.
What if he rolled the window down? But then all those other guys watching him, sitting next to him, watching him. With
You're like, hey, what
guns.
was that about? And you're like, whoops, I dropped my dropped all my
bag.
shit.
Yep.
Yeah. Apparently he hits Claire's tent with it, by the way. That's whose tent gets it.
Tactical.
Good thing I guess she and the baby were not in there.
Yeah. Does that count as an
Oi,
airstrike?
what the fuck was that? Sorry, Claire.
Does that count as an airstrike?
Tactical supply drop. There you go.
Mm.
At the end of the episode, Locke enters the cabin alone and meets the figure of the deceased Christian shepherd, who claims he is speaking on Jacob's behalf and is accompanied by his daughter, Claire Littleton.
What?
Christian warns Locke that Kimi's mercenaries...
That's a confusing line for, we've seen in the past, the Wikipedia editors have often, kind of walked you back to the beginning. Normally they'd write like Christian Shepherd, who's accompanied by Claire Littleton, one of the original 43 survivors of flight, blah, 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 which was destined to LA from Sydney or whatever. This time it's just a daughter. So you're missing possibly missing a lot of context. Sorry to.
If you're just coming into season 4 episode
people just tuning
11, you're going to be missing some context.
Yeah.
Possibly almost 4 full seasons.
Kind of a sad, we made fun of that a lot, but that's kind of a sad thing about a show that's finished that people mostly watch streaming online. Like there probably were people tuning in for season 4 episode 11 for the
people
first time.
People probably don't just
What's
start
this about?
mid-show too much anymore.
Exactly. It's too bad. People should do that more often.
I will sometimes do that. If I'm trying to catch up with the show, I'll just jump in on
right in the middle.
Well, I did that with Breaking Bad.
As I recall it, with Breaking Bad, you read the Wikipedia page for the first episode and the last episode, didn't you?
I watched the first and last episodes of each season, and then I just jumped into season 5.
Oh, and then you went into... Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah. I still to this day have not seen most of that show.
Yeah. Okay.
Probably not going to get around to it. Seems.
Interesting. Okay.
But yeah, cool. Jumping in midway through to a show could be kind of fun. You can kind of like try to figure out what's going on.
Why does this dad have an Australian daughter? Why does this daughter have a non-Australian dad? Whose baby is that anyway?
Babe, please. I have a podcast. I need to talk about this. Yeah. Christian warns Locke that Kimi's mercenaries from the Kahana are already en route to the island, and he needs to ask the most important question. And so Locke says, what do we need to do to save the island? And is apparently told that they've got to move it. Got to move the island.
Move the island.
He also said, so like Christian's like, okay, why are you here? Locke's like, I was chosen. And then Christian and Claire share a knowing glance, like a satisfied smile with each other. That also happens in there too. So yeah, that was this episode. This is Cabin Fever. I kind of thought that they were building up John to die in this episode because they're showing his birth or like his John episode. I for some reason I keep expecting him to die.
Heart attack style, or
I'm not sure how, but that's some way, one way or
Okay.
another. Dude's about to get to leave. That they have to move they got to move the island. I think this is something that can either strike people as extremely stupid or you're like, sick, let's go. And for me at this point, I'm like, let's go. That's
sure.
that is I take that completely in stride. But it wasn't until like writing the notes for this that I was like, I bet some people are frustrated by that. But
I find it interesting. Like, I'm just going to say this because you seem to have no doubts about it at all. I guess on rewatch, I find it interesting how quickly everyone in the show, and I was curious whether you would have any doubts about it too, but like you as a watcher would be like, huh, wait, I must have heard you incorrectly. You mean move off the island? Move all the people on the island? We've got to move islands? But
no,
yeah,
Zoe and I were watching, and we just looked at each other and we were like, "Whoa, cool!" I think that's like literally what like we're very much just like into it. And they're like, "Sure, yeah, whatever."
Nice, yeah. I think in this am I wrong?
You can't actually move an island.
Does Hurley ask this question, right? Where he's like, why didn't you do this the first time? Why didn't you do this earlier? Has it happened yet?
I think that's in the next episode.
Okay. Imminently.
And then that's where like Ben's like,
yeah,
it's dangerous and difficult and last resort type thing.
Yeah. Okay.
I gave it a 3 out of 5 after watching it initially, but upon going through it again, I'm gonna bump it up to a 4.
Yeah, it's a 4 from me. I want to see more of those rockabillys from the beginning. I'm still under the impression that this is not from the past.
Day. Yeah. All right. This episode of Lost on Ice is brought to you by us. Thanks for listening to our podcast. Please consider subscribing to the YouTube channel and checking out our Patreon. That's patreon.com/Dr. Skeleton, Dr. Skeleton. And, tell a friend about the show. They'll thank you for it. And we'll thank you for thanking them.
I'm always excited. I'm always excited to listen to that part when you do the little sponsored by us. And I'm waiting for the day when you're like sponsored by bluechew.com or whatever, I'm like,
chill with the free ads, bro. Don't start cutting ads.
Not cutting ads, but I'm just,
Dr. Skeleton can't be bought unless you go to patreon.com
and buy it
and literally buy
a
us.
Literal thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
A company could buy a subscription.
That'd be odd. Ferrari just subscribed to the Patreon?
It's okay. You threw out an ad too.
Which one is sponsoring podcasts out here? Which was more likely to happen? At this point, 400 and some episodes into this, seeming like neither. All right, let's talk about season 4, episode 12. There's No Place Like Home, part 1. So we're just talking about part 1 today. Like saying this as if everybody's like freaking out at me, but like we're talking about parts 2 and 3 next week, okay, class? This aired May 15th, 2008. This was directed by Jack the Man Bender, written by Carlton Cuse and Damon Lindelof. We got the biggest dogs in the pack on this one.
Yeah.
All right. This episode might have my favorite scene from the show so far. All right. In flash forwards to January 2005, the Oceanic Six, who are Jack Shepard, Kate Austin, Saeed Jarrah, Sun Hua Kwan, Hurley Reyes, or Hugo Hurley Reyes, and Claire Littleton's infant, Aaron. So that's the sixth. They arrive in Honolulu, where Hurley and Sun are reunited with their parents, Jack with his mother, where she kisses him on the lips, and Saeed with his girlfriend, Nadia.
Yeah.
In the ensuing media circus, a press conference is held. And this is my favorite scene. This is my favorite setup for the whole show. We see some insane font choices for the map that's going on behind them. I thought that was really fun.
Mm-hmm.
Also, at one point, somebody asks Sun a question in Korean, and I'm the guy who shouted out in the press conference, "Can somebody translate that?" That was me. That was me in the crowd.
Yep.
Basically, Jack lies about everything. Jack's speaking for everybody for the most part. Jack tells the media that they are the only living survivors, and that Kate gave birth to Aaron on the island. Sometime later. Well, okay, hold on. Don't jump ahead, Wikipedia, man. Because, the question that they asked Sun is that, like, hey, did your husband die on the island? And she's like, no, he died in the plane crash, even. I don't know. She has to, like, reinforce the lie. All right, sometime later, Hurley has a surprise birthday party.
Yep.
And his parents throw him a surprise birthday party that is island themed, reading the room so wrong. I thought that was very
That was
funny.
pretty good. Yeah, that was good.
Yeah. And he's holding up a Jesus statue. He's like, I think I heard something in the room. He's sneaking through the house. He sets his bag of chicken down, and he picks up like a gold statue of Jesus, and he's like gonna knock out an intruder, and he opens the door, and everyone's like, surprise! And his mom's like, what are you doing holding Jesus is not a weapon. And so he puts the statue down. Yeah. And they're like drinking out of like coconuts in there. Saeed's there, Kate's there, Aaron's there. I don't think Jack is there, right?
No, don't think so.
He's off doing Jack stuff. But yeah, Cheech Marin is like, all right, Hurley, let me show you something. It's the at this point, Hurley's like, I don't want anything to do with the money, right? He's if you got me a present like with the money, that like I don't want it. And he's like, don't worry, this is something I did before getting the money. He shows the newly rebuilt 1970s Camaro. But he gets in the driver's seat and sees like on the odometer and the trip counter, we see the 4, 8, 15, 16, 23, 24 numbers.
23, 40, 42.
42.
Isn't the last one 42? Yeah.
I think you're right. Yeah. And he runs away, literally runs away, like down the street, away from it all.
Yeah.
In Seoul, South Korea, Sun visits her father and informs him that she used the money from her settlement with Oceanic Airlines to buy a controlling interest in his company because she blames him for her husband's death. Son to boss, pretty cool move.
You work for me now, Dad.
Mm-hmm. I'm curious what your take is on this. I'm surprised Oceanic Airlines is providing settlement whatsoever. I kind of feel like a more like realistic version of this is that Oceanic Airlines just like kills the remaining 6 of them, right? Like they just like get out there and they're like, yeah, let's just drown the rest of it. Like they're all lost. They're all dead. We're not paying a single cent out for this. This is a huge disaster for us.
I think the 9/11 people got...
Did they get settlements?
Settlements.
From the airlines?
different places.
What are you trying to say?
No, I don't mean it. I actually didn't mean anything by that, but I think so. For the families, but I don't know how much. I don't know the. I mean, they ended up with money, but I don't know exactly who gave it to them.
Okay.
I get what you're saying, though. I get what you're saying.
So do you think that the people who are like getting plane crashes now are getting money? I think that they're basically
Those new
like,
Delta,
hey,
the Delta ones that flipped over in
Toronto,
Canada, they got paid.
Yeah. I thought they were just like, we'll give you a ticket back home.
No, they gave them $30,000, allegedly no strings attached.
Really?
Yeah. But Shelly and I we were talking about like, I mean, can be like a life-changing amount of money to people, but also
Yeah.
like you could fly like first class to like China like one time with that. Like sorry we crashed the plane, and like the last time something like this happened everybody died. Here's one vacation ticket. Here's one comfortable first class ticket.
Yeah, I got a flight in a couple days, and I'm kind of hoping it crashes and I don't die. Like,
you shouldn't say that. I mean, I hope
it crashes
too.
and I fucking die, dude.
I hope it doesn't crash.
Hope I burn to death. How about that? That's what you wanted me to say? All right. In the final flash forward, Jack eulogizes his deceased father, Christian Shepherd. After the ceremony, he gets hit with an info hazard. Truth Nuke.
Yeah.
Carol Littleton, Claire's mother, reveals to him that Claire is his half-sister. Sort of.
She's a sister, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, is half-sister not correct?
I don't think she said it's not.
She doesn't say.
She just says sister. She says
no.
Sister.
She says my daughter was on that flight.
I know, but she doesn't literally say the words half sister. She says sister.
Sure. Okay. And as she walks away, she smiles at Aaron and Kate's arm, oblivious to the fact that she is staring at her grandson. Damn, heavy.
Jack is doing like. I'm surprised watching that. I was like laughing to myself and being surprised that it hasn't become like a more popular like reaction GIF over the years of Jack's like head shaking, thinking about
whoa,
sisters with Claire's my sister. You know, once again, almost old boy style. You know, maybe that's what's going on in Jack's mind.
Why do you keep saying that?
Because they didn't know. They didn't know, and there were people that were, you know,
they didn't hook up or anything.
No, I know that they didn't, but maybe that's why he's twitchy. He's so close.
Man, I could have pulled anybody on the island. Thank God I held myself back. That's what you're thinking?
No, I don't know. Maybe that's what Jack was thinking. He's twitching. I mean, he's like, the way he's twitching in that scene makes you think this guy.
That he had impure thoughts.
That he had impure thoughts. Exactly. That's what's going on.
Okay.
It is really fun. I think it's a really funny reaction. The way
it would be really funny if, like, somehow it wasn't clear that the connection was to Claire. That was like, it's so crazy that like just it could have been any one of those women on that flight that is actually your sister, and like he and Kate are looking at each other like, yeah, but like who you think? They're like, oh, it could have been like anybody though. Like, oh, Nice. On December 30th, 2004, following the events of cabin fever, Jack and Kate follow the tracking signal on the phone given to them by Frank Lapidus, who dropped it onto the survivors' beach from helicopter. Crucially, or apparently not crucially, but seemed to be brought up a couple times in the episode, Jack is like bleeding and recovering from his appendectomy. We have first seen him in the episode. He's up munching on some cereal. Juliet's admonishing him. Juliet and Jack have this very like Jack is a little kid dynamic between the two of them. And yeah, Jack, charges off even though he needs to be recovering post surgery, which I find that quite annoying. I myself, okay, if I was in Desmond's situation, I would step up and be courageous and save everybody on the island. But if I was in Jack's situation, I would definitely be like, I would love to, but I can't. I just had surgery.
Yeah. Jack does kind of have the I don't know, middle school, high school guy thing. Actually, probably all age of some types of guys thing, where like your wife or your girlfriend or something like that tells you like, don't do something, and then you'll get hurt
Be
or whatever,
safe.
and then be safe, and they're like, I'm a badass. I'm not gonna do that, and then get hurt, and then your significant other has to take care of you for like, to their detriment for like 90 days or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
like, and he does, I think like one half of the equation gets it, but like Jack does not, and he thinks it's like an honorable thing. It's like, no, dude, for real, chill out. You gotta make it through this. We need you here.
Yeah. This is kind of how I am doing my part to battle toxic masculinity as kind of like a hero in my own right, is by taking every opportunity to show zero courage in like any or backbone in any situation. I kind of like am bucking the mold in that way.
Nice.
You're like, oh, my tummy kind of hurts. I don't think I can. They're like, oh wow, he's kind of queering masculinity by doing this.
Yeah.
At no point am I ever doing anything dangerous. I could get hurt. And aren't I brave for not giving into toxic masculinity for that? All right. So the gang encounters Sawyer, Aaron, and Miles Strum on the path. They're like, where's Claire though? Sawyer tells them, she walked off. And Kate returns to the beach with Miles and Aaron. There's a lot of like people running into each other. One person goes on. People are like pairing up midstream sort of thing. There's a little bit of swappage happening in this episode. But so yeah, Kate takes Aaron and goes to the beach with Miles. And then Jack and Sawyer team up, which I love a Jack and Sawyer team up. That's a fun combo, I gotta say. They team up. They meet with Lapidus at the helicopter, who is he's handcuffed to the back seat of the helicopter.
And Jack yells, "Lapidus!
Lapidus!" Was it Lacutus, like a rapper?
Lacutus is a rapper. Yep.
Yeah. I think I only remember the one song, but they do shout. They do be shouting Lacutus in it.
Lacutus. Yeah, I think about that for Lapidus every episode.
Mm-hmm. But they decide to rescue Hurley, who was with Ben, the mercenary's target, before leaving for the freighter. Meanwhile, Saeed arrives at the beach on the freighter's Zodiac boat and informs the survivors that they must go to the freighter as soon as possible because the mercenaries' objective now is to kill everyone on the island. Saeed and Kate go after Jack and Sawyer, but are captured by Richard Alpert and the rest of the others. They finally show up again. We were wondering last episode, hey, where'd those others go? Apparently, lying in wait. After unsuccessfully attempting to convince his crush, Charlotte Lewis, to leave the island, Daniel Faraday starts ferrying people to the freighter. I'm going to be taking people 6 at a time back to the freighter.
He's toned down a little bit.
He does.
This episode, which is appreciated.
Yes.
Thank you,
I'm back to liking Daniel. Yeah, he really had it, at max whisper last couple episodes. This one, he's kind of normal, actually. Kind of normal with it. Sun, Jin, and Aaron arrive at the boat only to discover a bomb consisting of a insanely large amount of C4 explosives on board.
I would guess. I don't know for sure, but that's my gut reaction to that. That's a lot of C4.
It seemed to be. It was a lot of anything.
A lot of anything, yeah. It's also stacked. It's like stacked up.
Yeah. It's packed in there.
Very cinematic way as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, in their quest to move the island, Ben, Locke, and Hurley arrive at the Dharma Initiative Orchid Station, which is disguised as a greenhouse. They set up a very like Far Cry-ass mission for themselves where they're like scoping it out through binoculars, what's going on over there. And that's at some point, Ben picks up like a stashed mirror and he starts like flashing it up at the ridge. He receives a few flashes in return, presumably in Morse code or something. I don't know. I didn't track it. But it's just like, okay, the coast is clear. Let's proceed. And then, they're surveying the station, and I forget what the thing is. But Locke was like, "Hey Ben, didn't you say that this?" And Ben says, "I wasn't being entirely truthful," which is like big surprise. Like that's kind of how he operates. And then this was just a cool moment too, where at some point Ben just gets like frustrated with all the questions that Locke is asking, and he turns to him and says like, "John, I don't know how many times this has to happen for you to understand. I always have a plan. I've got it figured out, okay, dude?"
Yeah.
And his plan, he gives him like a lot of instructions. Like, okay, you're gonna go in there like 20 paces to go to the left. You're gonna find an elevator. And then Ben approaches the enemies and surrenders to Martin Keamy and the other mercenaries from the Kahana with his hands up. And Keamy like has the gun pointed at him, but then like knocks him out with the butt of the rifle right in his head. A final montage of the episode shows the Oceanic Six and Ben in their respective predicaments. Yeah. Any other stray observations that I missed here? Sawyer called the barracks New Otherton. Thought that was funny. That was a good move. But yeah, that's that episode.
Do you have Do you have any predictions for? So okay, presumably the timelines of we'll call them the flash forwards versus the present day on the island. They're kind of coming closer together. They should be.
Yeah.
Presumably. But I would say, trying to put myself back into first watch mindset, we are yet to have kind of individual people, in my mind at least, in a place that would make it very obvious what kind of happens between all the people who are
like, how are those Oceanic Six grouped up?
Yes.
And all.
It's not like, oh, those six are the six that are walking around on the island, or they're the six that are ferried over
on
to
the
freighter, boat, or something like that. You've got Jin, who is presumably dead in the future, in the same place as Sun. We've got Michael still alive on the boat. We've got Desmond on the boat. Saeed's
Jack
gone back and forth,
super far away from anybody else.
Jack's way out there. Yeah. You've got Hurley seemingly right in the middle of right in the hot zone with Locke, who doesn't seem to be one of the six who have returned. So I'm just curious, do you have any Do you have any predictions? What's going to happen next? How far are we from, for want of a better phrase, how far are we from like the two timelines kind of converging? How much gap is there left between what we've seen up to this point on like the island and the earliest points where we've seen people back on, I guess basically back on the plane to Hawaii or whatever?
I'm bad at making predictions, but I'm going to just kind of guess that that moving the island, whatever that means, makes all that kind of happen along with it.
Mm.
I don't know, maybe they all respawn in the same location or something, and they can group up and decide like who's gonna stay, who's gonna leave.
Interesting.
I don't know. I kind of have no idea.
We kind of glossed over it, but in the first episode we talked about today, and I think it comes up again in the second one. There's reference to the six being off of
Toronto,
off of Indonesia, basically, right?
Yes.
On little islands. Or
Membata.
something. Yes. I don't know if those
Sumba.
are. I really don't know if those are real islands. Didn't bother to look it up, but they're definitely Indonesia area. Yeah. Do you think that that's a? It seems like they're putting on an act about what happened. I mean, they definitely are putting on
The
an act
survivors
about the survivor stuff. So I'm wondering, do you think that that's all like a planned escape, or do you think that that's something that's going to naturally follow from your last prediction about maybe they all kind of transport to the same place and then they just decide?
Like, why are they covering up?
Not why are they covering up, but how do they go from their reality to then basically washing up ashore on this inhabited island of Indonesia?
Yeah.
Or do you think that that's where they transport?
Idea.
Okay.
Truly no idea. I wish I could play along, but like, I don't know.
Nice. Okay.
I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 5 though. I don't think we rated this one.
Yeah, this is 4.
Nice. That's going to be it for the show today. If you like the show and want to hear more from Ben and I, consider joining our Patreon, patreon.com/Dr. Skeleton. Every week, Ben and I release a bonus hangout show and get into stuff that we can't talk about on the main show. I think this week we're going to do some Q&As about how to wash your car. Seems to be on the docket. Feel free to write into the show at drskeletonsartschool@gmail.com. Comment down below on YouTube or on Spotify. Next week, finish up season 4. That's episodes 13 and 14, parts 2 and 3 of There's No Place Like Home. Thanks for listening. See you next week.